Don, what do you make of Trump's big show of support for Bondi there? Because clearly he is hoping to keep the team together. But if he has to choose, is it Bondi over Bongino?
It's got to be Bondi over Bongino because Pam Bondi has done the one thing that Trump has asked of his attorneys generals now over 2 terms. Remember why he got mad at Jefferson Beauregard Sessions and Bill Barr. He got mad at them because ultimately his understanding of the job is that the Department of Justice is his personal legal department. And Pam Bondi has actually done what he's asked them to do for that perfect job description. She's done exactly what he wanted to do, which is protect himself. I think that we have to speak to kind of the elephant in the room, which is we know that Jeffrey Epstein was friends with Donald Trump, and we know that Donald Trump maybe was somewhat adjacent to the client list, if not specifically on the client list. Pam Bondi saying that there is no client list and that this matter is officially closed protects Donald Trump, and that is specifically what he requires out of that job. So, of course, in his mind, she did a wonderful job. And I think that the MAGA faithful is substantially disingenuous for getting mad at her when they know that the Attorney General's directive under his administration has been to serve as the president's personal lawyer. So I understand that Trump is very happy with Bondi. He's probably unhappy with Dan Bongino, but Dan Bongino is also highly disingenuous because you don't float the idea that you're quitting. You quit, and then you go on Fox News and tell the world why you quit. So he's just looking for attention, and he's not a serious person himself.
Okay, so Susan, there's this constant shift in messaging on this. There's a client list. Oh, no, there isn't. We're going to release video. Actually, it's edited. But really, who cares about Epstein anyway? I mean, it is a never-ending effort, it seems, to satisfy Trump's base. But is it a losing one? How does all this come across?
Well, there's 2 things in that question, Alex. One is reflective of how it's the gang that still can't shoot straight in the Trump administration. They shouldn't have all of these backs and forths and inconsistencies. Yes, there may always be a group that are going to challenge what happened with Jeffrey Epstein. Is there a client list? Let me see the video. But the administration itself gets its signals all crossed. That being said, don't put it past Donald Trump to fire Dan Bongino immediately because he has enough. He does not like what he's seeing in Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino, from what I hear, really doesn't like working as hard as he's been working and has been figuring out his escape hatch, if you will. So this may have presented a time, but I disagree a little bit with Don. He can't go on Fox News if Donald Trump says he's not welcome. So that is, I think, where this is going to play out, is that Trump will turn on Bongino before he does on Pam Bondi, no doubt, for things that Don said. But the bigger question is, and I think this is what everyone's kind of keeping an eye out, is how will Donald Trump control the narrative, and will that narrative appease the MAGA base? Does he still have control? Because if he doesn't, that will have him all outraged and doing who knows what. But more importantly, it may be a sign for other Republicans to move a certain way.
Yeah, I mean, just simply, does he have the control? Connor, Trump, he's now calling it the radical left-inspired documents on Epstein. But wasn't it the right wing, including people like Pam Bondi, who claimed a conspiracy to hide these documents? I mean, look, Trump gets a lot of leeway with his supporters to flip-flop on anything he says. But is this a bridge too far for them?
I think it probably is, because, you know, it looks like he or Pam Bondi just straight up lied to them about what they knew that was in these files. And it kind of reminds you why, for so much of our recent history, you know, presidents used to pick someone who was boring and even kind of conservative to be their attorney general, because it actually matters that people look at the attorney general and see someone who's going to tell the truth over political convenience. And it matters a great deal for people that have the job that I used to have, like when you're a line prosecutor that has to go in front of juries. Think about how much of the country now is basically not going to believe the Department of Justice after this. If they were told for years and years and years that DOJ was sitting on this huge, you know, shocking criminal indictment, I guess, for Jeffrey Epstein, and then they just sort of sweep it all under the rug, it's gonna have lasting implications for a long time.
How about this? And I'm going to ask all of you quickly so you can give me a yes, no, maybe. Trump's many responses to this have a methinks thou doth protest too much quality to them, right? But that aside, does this do permanent damage to MAGA, to that big world, to Trump? Don, you first.
It could. And the question is whether or not the MAGA faithful are going to keep up the energy that we saw in that Turning Points USA convention clip you saw earlier. Because I think they know that the fix is in, where the cover up is. The question is, do they continue to move forward with that, or do they kowtow to the leader like they've done for the last 10 years?
Okay, so energy depletion potentially and more. Susan, your thoughts?
I don't think it will long term. This is this weekend. Who knows what we'll be talking about next weekend?
Yeah, point well taken. Connor, to you?
It looks more to me like a chance for the next generation of people to start auditioning in front of that base. That's what it looked like Tucker Carlson was doing to me, was sort of his assault on J.D. Vance's position as the next in line.
Wait, do you think that means Steve Bannon's out?
I can't begin to understand his position in any of this, to tell you the truth.
Well, okay. Yeah, point well taken.